Welcome to the Black Excellence Project. My name is Manikka Bowman, and I'm elated to partner with CCTV to highlight all things Black excellence in the city of Cambridge. We are celebrating Black History Month, and I thought it was really important to center the voices of dynamic people right here in our city to celebrate the Black excellence that is amongst us. So I'm elated to have an entrepreneur and a friend join me today. Her name is Tonya Winston, and she is the owner and founder of Be Royal Boutique. I am sporting some of her amazing products right now. I'm elated to have a conversation with her about what inspired her to launch her own business, what brought her to Cambridge, and to hear her story. So, Tonya, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Manikka.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into it. You are the embodiment of Black excellence in our city.
You are so kind.
No, I'm speaking the truth. I am speaking the truth. I am all about celebrating dynamic people that walk amongst us every day that sometimes we just, kind of bypass, but I think it's important for us to create the space to have these conversations. So, Tonya, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brought you to Cambridge, your background? Just tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, I'm a mom, so I call myself a mompreneur because it definitely goes hand in hand trying to balance all of that. And I'm also a wife, and really that's who brought us here to Cambridge. So over 6 years ago, we embarked upon this journey for my husband to finish a PhD program here at MIT. And we found out about the opportunity a few months after finding out that we were having our second child. So it's been quite a journey. And really that's how Be Royal Boutique became an online brand initially versus how I had dreamed it, right, was to open a storefront in downtown Chicago. And we had to change plans, but it's worked out great.
So your husband brought you to the city of Cambridge because he was studying here in the area?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were here, new mom, and decided, this was the thing to do. Tell us a little bit about your educational journey and how that ties into Be Royal Boutique emerging into really a fabulous boutique for women.
Thank you. Well, let me back up and tell you more about how this all began. So, I used to spin a bestie of mine back in Chicago. We used to spend at least once a month, if not twice a month, going downtown Chicago on the north side to the little boutiques and visiting them. And we wanted to find the most unique pieces that not everybody was wearing. Yeah. At that time, I had also started doing styling and personal shopping for friends and for clients. And I noticed a big gap. When I was going to these boutiques, I couldn't shop for a lot of my clients because they didn't carry the sizes that I would need to find. And so, we would do this all the time. We made a day of it. It was breakfast to margaritas. We would do it all day.
Sound like a fun day.
It was a good day. I miss it. But I would dream about maybe I should have something like this on the south side of Chicago. Something like this for more of my friends. And of course, styles and sizes that would fit everybody. And so fast forward, probably 10 years, I never got around to it. I had a full career, was doing well in financial services. And then when I was laid off in 2014, I said, this is the opportunity. It's not a setback, it's an opportunity. I'm gonna take this severance pay and I'm gonna start my boutique, right? And then that's when we found out, that we were coming to Boston, so we had to change gears. And so we started out as an online boutique. And that's really how it became online versus a storefront. But my desire was out of making women happy and feel like, yes, you can look good too, from doing those shopping trips and wanting to do that for them too. So we've been here a little over 6 years, and it's taken us from the north, for all over Massachusetts, doing different events to having a pop-up storefront right now.
So, it's so much that I want to dig into based on your story. I think it's really remarkable. One piece I want to kind of go back to and hone in on, you said that you were laid off and you saw it as an opportunity. And you took your severance and decided to move in this direction. Tell me a little bit more about that moment, because so many people find themselves in similar situations or have this longing to fulfill a dream. But moving from a dream to an operation that makes it a reality is really hard for people. So tell us a little bit more about your thinking in that moment.
Yeah, well, I think like most people, at first I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have a job. And actually, I find that I was probably unique in that it hadn't happened before, right? I was 15 years with the same company. I had been able to grow with the company in different positions. And so really my second job out of school, but maybe 2 years out of college, this is the place I worked for. And so initially, I think just that separation of, how could you do this to me? Yeah. We've been together so long. Yeah.
The professional breakup.
Right? But quickly, I don't know. I always wanted to do this, and I hadn't put in the time to break away to fulfill this dream. And now I had the opportunity, I had the time. I was so married to my career that now it's like, well, what am I going to do? Well, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that thing that's on my vision board for the last 5 years. Now is the opportunity and the time to do it.
Oh, that's so inspiring. And I really appreciate that story. Most people in the city of Cambridge know me as being an elected leader. I call myself a recovering elected leader now because I'm not serving anymore. But what most people don't know is when I decided to run, it was a similar situation. I always had a deep passion to be a public figure and run for public office. And what pushed me over the edge was me separating from a job. And in that moment, I was like, okay, what am I choosing for myself? And I kind of jumped off the deep end, decided to run. It worked out. But it's something that I think many people can relate to. And so can you tell me a little bit about, you talked about this being the first job out of college that you had this breakup with. Did you go to school for business? Like, how did that tie into the path that you're on now as a business owner? Yeah.
So I did my undergraduate at Purdue University, go Boilers. And I think what has set me up for that was I majored in business and organizational leadership. And so I was always ready, I think, to run a business of my own. All of my positions have been account management, sales, managing relationships. And I find that is what I think goes a long way in what I do today, right? It is all about relationships. I mean, I try to find the most unique pieces that will accentuate the most beautiful parts of us. But at the end of the day, I have textiles, right? So I think it's building those relationships individually every time with those ladies when I'm sitting down talking to you about what it is that you're getting dressed for, what you're looking for, what is it that you want to feel, is what makes the difference in terms of getting to know the person if you have the opportunity, right? I think is what led me in this direction. As I mentioned, it was first personal shopping for individuals that I was doing that the light bulb kind of went off for me in terms of I could do this on a bigger level and more than one person at a time. Because I was working with a lot of ladies who just had decided they were done with shopping. They didn't enjoy shopping. Either they didn't have time or really they just really didn't enjoy shopping, which was most of the big part of it. And so being able to see the excitement, the pure excitement that these women would get about the pieces that I had chosen for them, and them thinking that they could never wear something like that because maybe they are 40 double D on the top or they're size 22, they would never gravitate towards that. Or I love my favorite IT people who, not picking on you, but a lot of my clients were like IT and they really just did not dress up. I think they didn't want to even stand out, right? A lot of times when we're women in male dominated areas, we want to, just kind of not put up a spotlight on ourselves. But then being able to work with some of them and show them you can wear this, you can be smart and look good.
Yes, both at the same time. I have to confess, I'm definitely falling into the category of not enjoying shopping. I feel like when I was younger, in my 20s, it was like this thrill of hitting the scene, having mimosas, all of that.
Right.
I feel like I'm too old. These 2 children, I have their activities. I feel like I don't have time for it, but I still like to look good.
Yeah.
So I really do think that the service that you're providing through your boutique is really something that helps women, particularly as they go through the different phases of life that we go through.
Yes, and rediscovering ourselves as women. We're not just moms, we're not just running major corporations, but we are women. We want to look and feel good. When we show up, we want to look like all the things that we've accomplished.
Yeah.
And we should. We deserve that.
And the ability to be able to embody that despite all the things that come at us,
Yeah.
I think is a really great thing. Well, we know that starting a business is a highly risky thing. And you talked a little bit earlier about taking your severance. But I'm just kind of curious, every time I talk to other entrepreneurs, my husband and I were in the process of, starting our own business. And the one thing that I've struggled with is my willingness to take risk. And what is risk for me and my ability to give myself permission to do it, right?
Yeah.
Which is growth and evolution, because it's taken a while to get here. So I'm just curious for you, like, how did you define risk and how did you work through the fears that come along with that?
Yeah, no, I completely get that. And I think that that's fair and normal. I think first is just realizing and recognizing there is risk, right? And accepting that. There is risk, but there is also reward, right? And so if you don't try, then the biggest risk is that you've let yourself down from not trying, right? And but there are boundaries. And so I didn't use my entire severance pay, right? I took a portion of my severance pay and said, this is what I have that I can put into starting this business, and I can't do any more because, hey, we're moving to Boston when neither one of us gonna have a job now. So, right? So this is what I can put into it, and then it has to make its own money from there. And so that was a boundary for me. But I mean, there's, and after that, then there's another risk, and then there's another, and there's another. But I think that we have to really just be brave enough to do it. I didn't go right into this, and I think a lot of times some folks think that this just happened overnight, right? I've been doing this for almost 7 years, and I didn't go full time until last year, right? So after moving here, I started online and opened an online store. But once my baby was able to go to daycare, I went back to work full time while still operating it, Be Royal online. And then the opportunity made itself clear that it was time to take the risk to go ahead and do this. And so that happened last year. So, definitely in stages, needed to a proof of concept. Can this business take care of itself? Like, I have no more money to give you. So sink or swim. We're going to do this. And of course, a lot goes into how hard to work on it, not having a paycheck, right? There's a lot of that goes into it too. But in terms of finances and what that boundary was, I did not and have not gone above and beyond that.
I appreciate the realness of what you're telling me, and I think people need to hear that there are multiple paths to move into the space of entrepreneurship. I think about the business that my husband and I are starting now, but even before that, when I decided to run for office, there's certain people that will just write the check and finance their whole campaign. I gave myself $100 to seed a website, and that was my boundary. That was my risk.
To set some.
Because I didn't want to put myself or my household in a situation that would, financially I would regret later. So I think having those conversations and letting people, there's no right or wrong way, but assessing your own risk is really key in starting a business.
It is, and I think it's human for us to almost sort of compare ourselves to others, but it is so important not to. I like to say that I am further than I was last year, right?
Yeah.
So I am my own competition, right?
I love it.
And I am slow and steady.
Yes.
You know, there's many boutiques who have done this, but I had 2 young kids. I had 2 under 2 when I started this business. And so it was steady, staying above water, staying in the game.
Right.
Was my goal, right? And then setting financial goals. But first it was just, I'm in it and doing it, right? And so we have to do that for ourselves. We can't compare ourselves to the person on the left or right. We don't know what's going on, what their situation
Absolutely.
is. But I know I had 2 young babies that I also needed my attention.
No, I love it. And this is why it really brings it full circle for why we're doing the Black Excellence Project. Because for me, you know, Black excellence, sometimes the way we talk about it is really looking at the end results and not looking at the excellence that it takes to stay steady, like you just said, and to stay focused and to be resilient and to move through that. And particularly when it comes to our community, sometimes we just don't highlight that enough. We talk about excellence and resiliency in the context of pain, but being able to talk about it in the context of fulfilling a vision and a dream, I think is so special. And you are the embodiment of that.
No, you are.
Oh, no, you are. But you know what? I think that people want to hear about B Royal Boutique. Tell me a little bit about your style, some of the pieces that you decide on. What is your thinking when you approach your vendors, when you are stocking your online, as well as your storefront now, boutique?
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking that. You know, B Royal Boutique is about empowering and embracing women to feel their best selves. I kind of said that before. I think that it takes so much for us to finally get a place in the room, right? And I've been in that position, right? To finally get around that big table, right? That when we get there, the last thing I want to think about is how I look, right? And it means so much. I think sometimes people think that that's not as important, but I'm here to say I think so, right? I think in the first 5 minutes, people size you up.
It's true.
But also,
it's true.
We feel better when we look good. We stand a little taller. We feel more confident. And you're not second guessing anything about how you've come into the room. You can focus on exactly what you have to say in the room. And so I think that that is so important. And that's what I'm going into B Royal when I'm curating pieces. And I wanted to make sure, as I alluded to before, a lot of the folks that I shop for, my clients, were plus size. And so I want everyone to feel included. My mom, my sister, folks in my family, I want them to be able to shop with me too. Too often, I think that retail has overlooked this amazing segment of the population. And I'm here for all of us. And I find the response has been amazing, that I can fit clothes for you and I can fit clothes for someone who may need a size 18 or 20. And we both, or you both, leave out of the store feeling good about what's in your bag and what you're going to wear to work, or what you're going to wear to the next event. And that's really my approach. I'll tell you, when you ask me about working with manufacturers, it's quite interesting because it's challenging to find styles that go the whole run. So usually I have to shop those few that have options for plus size, and then over here options for extra small to large. And so it's very challenging in that respect too. And I think that there's starting to be some changes, but I think that overwhelmingly places carry it just to carry it, but they're not really curating necessarily for style. And so I like to think that I do. And I don't know. It's something that is so important to me that everybody feel like they can go in and find something that'll make them feel good.
Yeah, I can definitely testify to the work that you do, particularly as a woman. After you give birth, your body is
different
all over the place. And really being able to then transition back to, if you're a working mom, being able to go back into a routine of being able to be professional. Sometimes it's hard because the way you left the workforce and way you go back into it is not the same from like the physicality of your body.
Yeah.
And it's something that probably people don't think about, but it takes work before if you get back to that pre-baby phase. Bless all the people that do, but that's
There's some lucky ones out there
that do that, right? But that's not the story for everyone. And really being able to go into places and feel affirmed as you have to then enter back into the workforce, I think is so fundamentally important. So I really do think that you're doing a very great service to women.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Tonya, can you tell me a little bit about, now that you're here, I know that you started off as an online boutique and now you have a shop in Assembly Row. Can you just tell us a little bit about that process and where people can find you in Assembly Row?
Yes, thank you. It's a pop-up store, so it's not my store permanently yet.
We're going to speak that.
Right,
we're speaking it, yes.
And it's all because Allison Yee, I have to shout her out. Thank you, Allison. She runs Popping Up Next. And so she marries, small entrepreneur businesses like mine and makers with landlords or owners of storefronts that are sitting empty. And come on, face it, it's a lot of that these days. It's a lot
happening, yeah.
And so
absolutely.
She's filling a huge need where, they need someone in the space. Small businesses like us, we really need an affordable space. And so her organization has married the needs together and provided this opportunity. So I'm so excited to be able to say that I'm at 670 Assembly Row, next to Selfie World and Earl's Kitchen, amongst all these amazing brands at Assembly Row, and I'm there through May. So come and see us.
Yes, check her out. Yes, go. I've been to the store. It is amazing. And my husband and I were both in commercial real estate. And right now, because of COVID and the pandemic, it's really unearthing a lot of things in commercial real estate. And then you add in the desire for people to shop online, which you're covering both bases.
Yes.
There's so many opportunities for people like yourself to test out the market to really grow your business. So I'm really excited that you're leveraging the moment to move Be Royal Boutique forward.
Thank you, Manikka. Thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a joy, and I hope the people of Cambridge appreciate the conversation as well. I'm really excited to partner with CCTV to launch this new project, the Black Excellence Project. Black excellence is all around us, and we're going to celebrate it for Black History Month, but we will celebrate it throughout the whole year as well. So if you know someone that embodies Black excellence, reach out to CCTV, reach out to me, let me know so they can be a part of this program too. Thank you for having us, and happy Black History Month.